So we are going to talk about how to set New Year's resolutions without shame-based motivation. And this is from the Mighty, shared by the Mighty, and for mental health. For a long time, I rejected the idea of New Year's resolutions. Honestly, I kind of rejected the idea of goals in general. I didn't understand how to set goals without shame to motivate myself to accomplish them. So I said, good radiance. This year is the first year I'm setting New Year's resolutions again, and I'm determined not just to meet my goals, but to do it without shame. What does shame-based motivation look like? The shame starts with the goals we set. The kind of goals we set can often be inspired by shame-based motivation, aka motivation, based on avoiding the feeling of shame. For instance, if we're ashamed of how late we sleep in or how long we spend on our phone in the morning, we might set a goal to get up earlier. In general, this can be a great goal, but when it's motivated by shame, we're setting ourselves up for failure. I can actually relate to that one because I be in the bed, I be knocked out, I be asleep, and then I wake up and I feel like I should get up, more of obligated. I feel obligated to get up. So then I try not to feel so guilty about not getting up right. Not getting up right then and there. And I don't know why I feel this way, honestly. Like every single morning, and it makes my mornings kind of like I be feeling good in the morning up until I start thinking this way. And then I go into like a depression mode, and I start to, I just go ahead and go back to sleep because now I feel, now I feel ashamed or I feel depressed. I made myself depressed in a way. So yeah, that kind of went with that because, like she said, for instance, if we are ashamed of how late we sleep in or how long we spend on our phone in the morning, we might set up. We basically are shaming ourselves right then and there. So we tend to just put it all down and just go to sleep. And this is a sign of, depression in a way. Shaming yourself in general, period, can lead to depression because then you put down those things and you just like, it is what it is, whatever. And you just go into this like dark, gloomy mode because you just shamed yourself because you feel guilty about whatever it is you're feeling bad about when you really don't have to feel that way, but you feel that way for a reason, So, that's because shame is not actually a good motivator. If you define a good motivator as one that helps you identify a goal, steadily work toward that goal, and eventually achieve it, does this sound familiar? I really need to get up early and stop wasting so much time. All that time scrolling through my phone like a lazy bum. When other people are up taking care of kids and doing something with their lives, and here I am, just an idiot in bed until noon. This year, I'm done being so lazy. It's ridiculous. Yeah, that's shame talking. A lot of shame, actually. Maybe it's easier to spot written out here like this. But shame has a sneaky way of sounding a lot like logic when it's in our own hands, and when it's in our own heads, especially for those of us without a shame-based personality. We talk ourselves out of situations a lot to avoid that feeling of shame. Instead of feeling shameful of whatever it is that we should feel shameful of, we usually do we talk ourselves out of feeling that way. We basically just like they said when it sounds a lot like logic, but shame has a sneaky way of sounding a lot like logic. You ever been that person where you don't want to feel a certain way about something, you don't want to feel like this person may be setting you up or this and that, so I guess you it's like putting the pieces together, or you would find a logical way to think about what's going on, or you try to just figure it out, and you try to just, make it seem as though this person isn't doing what they're doing, or you make it seem as though you're not going through what you're going through, because you don't want to feel shameful. You don't want to feel ashamed that this is actually what it is. Like I said before, if it quacks like a duck, it walks like a duck, then it's a duck. But we have developed this habit of talking ourselves out of something that may be what it is, or we beat around the bush a little bit too much, just so that we can, we don't have to feel the prickly feeling of those thorns on that bush, or those, whatever's prickly on that bush. We tend to beat around it so that we don't have to feel that feeling. Instead of just going all in, we nitpick at the situation, because we don't want to feel ashamed. We don't want to feel pain. We don't want to feel as though this is what it is. Like, honestly, after I spoke about, the situation that was going on with me, I actually had a dream. And this dream, it revealed the same exact thing. It revealed my fear of what may actually be, if not this. And I'm just like, so it's clear as day, but I can't see it. Why can't I see it? I can't see it because I don't want to see it. It can be all the signs in the world giving you, all the signs in the road is showing you as clear as day, this is what it is. But guess what? You blocked your mind from seeing the truth. You blocked your mind from receiving the truth, because you don't want to receive it. And guess what? Your mind does act like a shield. Your mind does protect you, and it's on you to, kind of get away from that type of protect. You have to unravel your mind again. You have to work on your mind again, so that you can work through that barrier, that shield that you built up for your mind. You built this shield to where now you can't receive the truth because you're afraid of receiving the truth. And your mind, like a mother, acting like a mother, has prevented you from seeing this truth, because you did this. You didn't want to see it. So therefore, every time you're close to seeing it, you can't receive it. Just because you see it don't mean you will receive it. And I seen it. I seen it. And I seen it in my dream. I kind of, had the feeling it is what it is. But this feeling won't fully unravel for me. This feeling I can't truly feel, So like I said, I seen it, not a feeling, or when you got that intuition, you got that gut feeling that it is what it is, and then you have a dream, and this dream is showing you exactly what your gut is telling you, but then you're not receiving the message. Why can't you receive the message? You're putting out, it's just like putting out this message all these ways that you can, but then, it's like sending a message to the post office. You put it in the mailbox, eventually the post office get it, but then you didn't mark the address. So then you didn't mark the address, so therefore the mailman can't get it to you. The mailman, that third part where, the mailman comes out to give you your mail, or give that person the message that you put the postage stamp, you put it out for, in the mailbox, you wrote the name and stuff, but you forgot the address. So now this is preventing that person from receiving your message, your mail, So now, just because you put it out there, and you see it coming intuitively, you're getting a hint, but you're not getting a message, because something is missing. You're preventing yourself from receiving that message. So yeah. Okay, so let's continue on. Yeah, that's shame talking. A lot of shame, actually. Maybe it's easier to spot written out here like this, but shame has a sneaky way of sounding a lot like logic when it's in our own heads, especially for those of us with a shame-based personality. If you've gone through something like the scenario above, and tried to change your habits out of shame, you know how it ends. 2 weeks later, exhausted from trying to hate yourself into the kind of person you want to be, you go back to scrolling through your phone to distract yourself from all the shame, and you're somehow even worse off than when you started. How to set goals without shame. Here's the tricky part: how to set goals without all the shame creeping in. The truth is, you may not be able to silence the shame entirely. I know that this might sound a little pessimistic, but I found that in my own experience, at least, shame doesn't just go away. It takes time, a long time, to unravel where the shame can when the where the shame came from, how it's affected you, and finally restructure how you think about yourself and the world. Unfortunately, we can't do all that right here in this article, but we can still find some tricks for working around shame to set some goals we can really stick to. My number one strategy for getting around my shame is the best friend rule. Basically, before I set a goal, I ask myself, would I be worried about my best friend if they set this goal for this reason? If the answer is yes, then my goal is likely motivated by shame. I need to take a step back. So basically, what she's saying is you have to know the intention before you set the goal. So her intention was asking, you know, basically getting that clarity about that question. Would I be worried about my best friend if they set this goal for this reason? If they set this goal for this reason, would my best friend be worried about me? Basically, if the shoe was on the other foot. And if the answer is yes, then my goal is likely to be motivated by shame. And I need to take a step back. The best friend rule is the great way to get around our own personal hangups and see ourselves a little more accurately. Shame likes to tell us that we are inherently different, inherently bad. That is not true, but I understand that sometimes it feels true anyway. So I use the best friend rule to see past those feelings of brokenness. Another great way to set goals without shame is the why game. The why game is basically where you channel your inner 3-year-old and you insist set incessantly ask why until you can take it anymore. Ask yourself why you're setting these specific goals. Then question your answer. Then that answer. Then the next answer, and so on. The why game really helps you get to the root of why I am ashamed about something and understand the why behind my shame makes it easier to set a goal that isn't based on that shame. That is so, that is so smart. Even though I understand, getting behind intuition, it's like sometimes I can do this towards everyday life and this and that. But when it comes to relationships, relationships like with my sisters and this and that, I do this as well. But when it comes to me personally, you know, thinking this way, it's like I can't actually do it because it's just, I guess my emotions are in the way. My emotions become so powerful to where I cannot think logically. I am forbidden from thinking logically when it comes to personal relationships or relationships that actually, personally affect me. So, like, when a guy is making me feel some type of way, it's like kind of, I'm blocked from really thinking about it from a strategic point of view, strategically. I can't think about it in that way. So it's like, could I do it now? Like, I'm trying to think. So yeah, that's something I can do right now. I could do this. It's just like, I don't know. That is just like, I will continue on to try to figure this out, because I don't know. I feel ashamed. I don't know. I don't feel ashamed, but I feel like the other person may feel ashamed, honestly. I feel like the other person feels ashamed for what they've done. That's what it is. I feel like the other person feels ashamed, and I don't understand why this person feels ashamed, but at the same time, I kind of do, you know. When we're both intoxicated at the time. But that's another thing I wrote. It's just like, just because you, this is what I learned, you know, just because you're under the influence of alcohol doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing. I feel like internally we are spiritually strong, so strong to the point where our mind is also strong as well. It's like the alcohol has more influence over the body than the mind, because our mind just became so strong to the point where we know what we're doing. But guess what? We have come so far along in our life that where we can use this alcohol as an excuse. You know, I can say it was the alcohol, like T-Pain, blame it on the alcohol. We can actually do this. We can blame it on the alcohol, but honestly, guess what? We know what we're doing. So it's just like, the fact that I know this is like, how can I actually expect this person to feel ashamed for what they were doing? You know? But at the same time, it's just like, we are not in the same body. We are not living the same life. I don't know what this person went through. And this person may not actually be able to, may not be thinking the same way I am. This person actually probably is blaming on the alcohol because they are not who I am. And I always be told this. Like, not everybody thinks like you, this and that. And it's just like, it's hard for me to understand, because it's like, if I can do it, why can't you? You know, if it's like, I'm sitting here thinking this way, and I see the potential in you to where I know, you know, it's what it seems. Like, this person is very, very intelligent. This person, you know, is in their right mind even when under the influence. So it's just like, I know you think in the same way, you know? So it's kind of hard to really nitpick at the situation, because it's just like, so is this person ashamed? You know, because I know I'm not ashamed, but that doesn't mean this person isn't, you know, ashamed. And this person could be ashamed, you know. But does that make me at fault? Does that put me at fault? Like, it's just, I'm kind of getting uncomfortable with the situation at all. Now I'm kind of feeling uncomfortable, you know. So, yeah. Just some things, I honestly believe that this was not meant to happen. This wasn't meant to happen. That's all I can say. This might actually be, you know, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna just go back to the article. So, okay. So the best friend rule is a great way to get around your own personal hangups and see ourselves a little more accurately. Shame likes to tell us that we are inherently different, inherently bad. That is not true, but I understand that sometimes it feels true anyway. So I use the best friend rule to see past the feelings of brokenness. Another great way to set goals without shame is a why game. The why game is basically where you channel the 3-year-old you. And we talked about this part, but I'm gonna go ahead and read it over. Basically, you channel your 3-year-old, and you basically assessingly, you're writing it down like an assessment. You're, getting to the root, figuring out. You incessantly ask why until you can take it anymore. Ask yourself why you're setting these specific goals. Then question your answer. Then that answer. Then the next answer, and so on. And this can go on for days. This is just what I was just doing. So basically, I was just doing what this was talking about. You know, when I was just talking about that, you know, influence and being under the influence and, you know, you acting a certain way and this and that could be the cause. Like, it could go on and go on and go on and go on. You know, it could go on until basically until you can't take it anymore. And that's where I just basically hung up. You know, I'm like, I can't take it anymore. So yeah. So the why game really helps me get to the root of why I am ashamed about something, and understanding the why behind my shame makes it easier to set a goal that isn't based on that shame.
For her, the mist was a nightmare. It was the reason her hair would revert back to being kinky, even though she was trying to blend it so desperately against a straight texture. That to me. Whew, okay. So here's where I draw, like, the minute I start to see Asian women and white women and white Latina women covet our natural hair and wear our textures, that's the minute I will maybe consider putting a straight hair wig on or whatever. But those women do not, in a majority of Asian women, majority of white women, and majority of white Latina women, they're not trying to contort themselves to fit black looks in terms of the hair. They might want a tan. That's on them. They need to work on that. They might get filler and all of that, which honestly black women do that too. But when it comes to hair, which is what I talk about, because I got in comments where there was a person here that commented, oh, but white women, they get their hair. Oh, no, they were like, oh, well, white women, they tan a lot. So what are you trying to tell me? Two wrongs don't make a right. Don't bring that up to me as a defense. Like, you're still just pointing out what they're doing. I'm at a place where I don't want to focus on what anybody else is doing. I want to focus on us as black women healing. I want to focus on us creating a lane for ourselves of our own beauty being put on a pedestal for ourselves. That's what I'm trying to create on this channel. I'm not trying to be like, oh, woe is me, two wrongs make a right, because two wrongs don't make a right. You pointing out that white women do X, Y, Z, that's not really an argument to me, okay? If you want to keep wearing their hair texture, go for it. Because you wearing their hair texture is free promotion of their beauty. I'm not here to give anybody free promotion. What's happening over here? I gotta see what's happening. Something is like tangled. Got it. Yeah, I'm not here. The one thing I'm not here to do is give a whole nother race of women free promotion of their beauty. So that means I'm not trying to look like anybody. I don't contour my face. I barely wear makeup at that. I don't lighten my skin. I keep my skin the color it's supposed to be, the color that God has blessed me with. My hair, it's my texture. When you ask me what texture is my hair or what type is my hair, I don't do hair typing. It's about to be 2025. I'm leaving hair typing in the past. If you ask me what my hair type is, it's the hair type that you see. This is my hair type. This, you could call it, consider it whatever you want. I'm not calling it anything besides my hair. Like I
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Be notified and share at your own free will to show you care.